Hey Flux, welcome to the new trading week. It's your boy, your millionaire. In this week analysis, I'm going to be covering the pairs, the DXY, the fiber, and the pound cable, and the euro pound. I'm going to be covering the DXY, talking about the euro dollar, euro USD, talking about the euro pound. So I'm going to start with the DXY. What do we have on DXY, and what is DXY likely to do this week and the following week to come? I made mention of DXY sales right from this 150 area. You can go back to my previous weekly analysis whereby I talk about DXY selling off from this area, and this following 2 weeks I made mention of that 2 weeks ago, and since then we've been having DXY trading all the way to the downside. So now, what is DXY likely to do? Am I still on my same bias? Yes. I really want to make this short so that you guys can watch. I really want to show you what DXY is doing. We're going to start from the top-down analysis from the monthly. So we're going to check the monthly to see what we got on DXY. So, checking out the monthly time frame, what can we really say on DXY? What does DXY really look like it's doing? Is this a channel movement for those of us that stay channels? Is this a flag formation trying to form? Anything we can call it, it could be it. But not until it's happened, we can't really say. But from what I really want to explain, you can only see this was a distribution phase and this was an accumulation phase. That's why I retrace back into the distribution phase, created back in 2017, and trying to make the way back to the downside. I don't really want to show much data on DXY, but what you have on the screen right now is this. You can see I spot out importance area that we are going to be looking at on DXY following weeks to come. Right here we can see around the 9200 region. There was a nice area back in the past, there 2015. Forget about people telling you not to look at history. You have to look at history to know what the data has presented itself or what a certain pair has done in the past. So we're not going to waste much of our time on this. We just want to see what it's likely to do based on higher time frame, because we're trying to do top-down analysis. So right here you can see there was a nice impulse right here. The market retraced and goes all the way back up, come all the way back to this region, make its way back into this area, protecting this high, failing to break this top, trying to make its way downside. Where could be the target on the higher time frame? The one thing you guys always want to have in the back of mind is you always want to know where the target is, where the market is likely to go. Then you can actually base your entry on that perspective. We got a stop right here. We got a low right here. Market fails to break this stop, trying to give us some kind of candlestick pattern on the weekly, on the monthly. You can tell if they ask me where is DXY likely to go, I'm gonna say back into this low. That DXY is likely to come back into this low. It could take a lot of years, I can't tell. But me looking at what DXY is doing, protecting this high, there's high chance of DXY making its way back into this low. Now let's put our fib out. If I place a fib right from this area to the downside, I could tell with respect to some kind of 88.6 fib region back into the distribution phase that we have. There's high chance of we coming back into the accumulation phase that we have around the 90.00. Okay, now let me go into the daily. I just want to make it sharp. Let me go into the daily to show you what we got on the daily time frame. Knowing what the high time frame is like, DXY is likely to come back into the 9000 area, but it could take a lot of days. We want to look out for what market is likely to do this week this new week that we just entered. Now looking at this was an impulse that we're expecting. But mind you, if you look at what I have on my chart, what I have are majors area where DXY has given us reaction. Right at the 9500, we got reaction at the 9700, we got reaction at the 9900 back in the past. And those reactions is either a breakout of it and a retest or a bounce of it. Look at this around the 9700 where DXY is close to. DXY right now is around the 98.39. Right here we can see around the 97.60. DXY breaks below, retest this level and pushed up. Back in 2018, we respected this area, then comes all the way down. Back in 2019, we can see what we do right there around this point. Also in 2020, you can see what we did right here around the March. Price break above, give us a retest of it, and make its way back into the upside, creating a nice surge movement around this point. Now DXY is close to this area again. What do we think DXY is likely to do around this present point in time? I will personally anticipate a bounce of this area, but main that we're looking at for DXY to come way back to the downside. I will be careful on what DXY is likely going to do around this point. So this was an impulse that we had. I'm just going to try to place a fib from this area, bring it all the way to the top, and watch out for what I got. A fib from there to here, there was a nice 618 and a nice 65 area, one of my golden zones, fib, bouncing off around this point. So there's high likely DXY comes back into this range for a little bit retracement back into a structure around the 99,800 before sales actually continue. So this week I'm looking at for a bounce to the downside, a move to the downside, and a bounce, at least a retracement of those moves that has been occurring. That's on the daily. So checking back to history, you can actually tell what DXY always does whenever price comes back into this area. We're expecting some kind of bounce around that point. Let's just make it quick and go to the 2-hour time frame. Checking the 2-hour time frame, what is DXY likely going to do based on the high time frame perspective that we have? Or I'm just going to stay on the 4-hour time frame just to make everything clean. Looking at the 4-hour time frame, there was a low that we respected right here. This was the low we got. So if you check this low, what did DXY did around that low? DXY break the low for some kind of stop hunt, for everybody trying to buy some kind of double bottom around this point, and move back into a nice institutional area back into this point. I'm referring you to one of the video I did about institutional footprint. DXY breaks that low for stop hunt and comes back into this institutional footprint area. So which could actually tells us that if they respect this area, there's high chance of them pushing up back into the upside. But I personally want to see some stuff whereby I want to see DXY breaks back into this low around the 9750, 9760 area for possible move to the upside, which simply means I'm going to be watching DXY this week. But where DXY is right now, price could actually come back to respect this low and push this present low that we had last week and push its move back into the upside. If you check an ABCD pattern that we have starting from this point to this area, we can actually see DXY respect a nice 618 and make its way back into negative 618. A completed ABCD pattern around that area for a nice push up. So in DXY this week, I'm expecting some stuff of things like this. Is it that we get this low being respected, then prices make its way back into this region before a nice sell off again, or we get something like this back into this range and give us a nice buy opportunity into the upside. That's for DXY. The next pair is going to be the fiber. What is the fiber going to look like? The reason why I'm giving you this pairs is just for you to be able to understand what euro is going to be doing against the dollar, and what pound is going to be doing against the dollar, and what euro is going to be doing against the pound or so. Checking the fiber, we're going to do some kind of top-down analysis also. What do we have on this fiber? We can see, I've been calling this for a couple of months. A lot of people have been calling that for sure, but price has been pulling down. Looking at this, what do we get? We get some kind of compression movement. This was a nice impulse that we have around this area. Then price tries to retrace, protecting this low that we have. Right here was a nice accumulation phase. We got some kind of liquidity void around here. Then we get price respecting back into accumulation area for another kind of move like this. So this is what I do tell you. This was an accumulation phase that we have right here. You guys can see, if I'm to box it out, this was an accumulation phase. Price take the low out for stop hunt, then make a move to the upside, comes all the way back, protecting this low, comes back in the institutional footprint area. There's high chance of them making an higher high to the upside. Talking about a nice impulse that was derived right here. Sorry, I need to make this color black. So talking about something like this, this was a nice impulse that we got. So if price is going to do the same thing, they are definitely going to make another wave to the upside. So looking at the fiber, there's high chance of fiber going higher, but it might not occur now. So now let's talk about what fiber is likely going to do this week that we are in. Now looking at the weekly, let's check the weekly real quick. For those of you that trade chart pattern, what type of chart pattern is this? You can actually tell this is a falling wedge, right? You can ask yourself what kind of chart pattern we do have right here. You can call it a falling wedge. You can see something like this. Yeah, right there. This is a falling wedge. indicating solid movement to the upside. So you guys can actually see price can still come back a little bit back to the upside, then make its way back down before the big move to the upside. Just checking out the higher time frame just to see what you're having. The compression is still right there, making ways for the higher movement to the upside. For anybody that took in my long right here since the last 2 weeks, congratulations on that trade. So let's check on the daily and see what we have. Mind you, these levels that you can see on my chart are important areas that I have on my chart whereby price has given a reaction or price has some kind of influence in the past. So you can actually look out for those areas. I'm talking about the 1.2, 1.1200. I'm talking about the 1.1500. I'm talking about the 1.0800. Those are areas that has influence in the price. I called the buy around the 1.0800 right here, and that was about 400 pips to the upside for anybody that was in that trade last 2 weeks. So what am I looking out for fiber to do this week? We got a nice resistance around this point. I'm talking about the 1.1200, 1.1200 to 1.12220. I'm looking at that level for a nice bounce off. But before that, let's try to check what fiber can do. We got a nice impulse around this point to the downside. Boom. Price is respecting the high and the low of that impulse, protecting both. We never took the low out, we never took the high out. Then we got another impulse right here. Price respecting the low and the high. The high is about to be respected, or is it going to be breaking, or price is going to respect the high right now. Now we got this low being respected, so price never come back into this low before they make its move back up. So if we're gonna put a fib on this low from year to year, what do we get? We got the market came all the way back to the 70.6. There's high chance of them making a one-to-one movement back into what the negative 272 or potentially back into this resistance. You guys can actually see where we have the big boy TP, which is negative 618. If price wants to make a move back into the upside, this is going to be a very good area for us to take all the TP out on the long on fiber. So, but right now, what do we have? Before price can make its way back here, are we expecting some kind of retracement? Yes. So this week we might get some kind of pullback on fiber before price continues way back into the upside. So where are the pullback likely to occur? We're looking at this high. A lot of sellers are in this high already. I'm going to go to the 4 time frame. Fiber already got a lot of sellers around this high. So we had a lot of people trying to sell EU right from this point, looking at for sells. Where are the stops of these sellers? The stop are going to be above this high or above this present resistance. So what am I going to look out for? I'm going to place a fib from this point back into this downside. I want to see the type of fib reaction that we have above that high. So if I play my fib right from that point back into this low, I can definitely see we had a 6.1 and a 6.5 region. Same thing as TXY, that we had a nice support right there. We got a nice resistance around this area. So there's high chance if fiber breaks this high to make a move back into this region for a nice sell-off, respecting this resistance. I don't want to forget that price can actually make its way back into this area. I personally am looking at for TP all the way back into this 1.115 area. But looking at for pullback for the continuation for the long, there's high chance of price breaking this point. So if you get something like this week, price break this high, comes back into this region, there's high chance of you selling back into some kind of region like this before price make its way back into the upside. So on fiber this week, I'm looking out for this high to be invalidated. The moment market break this structure that we still have right there, the moment this structure has been taken out, I will look out for sells around this 1.2200 to 1.2220 for a possible retracement back into the 70.6 or 618 of these last impulse that we're going to be having. So it's going to be couples of pips. If price make its way back into that area, then I'm going to be looking out for sell back into this point. Back into this point. So if price makes its way back into this area, I'm going to be looking out for sell back into this area. So that's what we have on fiber. I really don't want to. So I'm going to make, that's what we have on fiber actually. Then let me just make it sweet. So what we have on the next thing I'm going to be talking about is going to be euro pound. So you can actually choose the one you want to trade out of pound and euro against the dollar. So what do we have on euro pound? We're going to do some kind of top down analysis also again on this. So talking about the top down analysis that we have on this. Talking about the top down analysis that we have on this. Now let's check it out. right here from the monthly, we got some kind of 1000 pip range in between this movement. Look at here, this was a range movement, and this in from year to year is a 1000 pips range. In between that, euro pound has been moving upside and downside. I don't want to waste much time on this. Let's just go on the daily straight away. What do we have on the daily? You guys can actually tell all the levels that you can see right here are important area based on price influence in the past. Looking at this area, it's a nice important area based on price influence in the past. Looking at this top, it's a very nice area based on price influence in the past. I spot out those highs and lows that euro pound has given us reaction back in the areas. And looking at this area that euro pound is very close to, which is 0.91500. Looking at this area also, the 0.9300 and the 0.95 figure, big figure. So now euro pound make his way. I called the buy around this point also. For those of you guys that have been watching my analysis, from this point to this area, we're looking at for the 618 back then, and it actually occurred. We got it before of the chart. You guys can actually go back to one of my recordings to watch that. Right, and the 616 to 65 area, and market make his way back into the upside. Then I made mention of something. Price market is going to respect the 50 pip of this last drop, which is the equilibrium area, bring from this area to the downside. We're looking at for the 50 pip, whereby price is so close to it right now. So price making our way back in the 50 pip, we're looking at for sell entry. That is just what we're looking at for on the euro pound, and we can actually tell what this pair is doing around this resistance. Last week we got a nice spike of the resistance, and we got the market drive a little bit. Each rejection, what is price likely going to do around that area? I personally, I will be looking out for some kind of retracement back into that range, which simply means if price make his way and break this resistance, I'm taking myself from the 0.91500 area, which is going to be around what the 618 of this last drop, starting the fib from this point. So bring my fib right from this point, bring it all the way to the downside. I'm looking at for the 618 to 65 region. Looking at for this area, should in case market takes out this resistance. But I don't want to expect market to take that resistance. This is a very good area to look out for sell opportunity. Should in case market gives out this week, if they come back into this region and give us some kind of reaction, we can actually look out for sell back into this area. Back into this area. We're going to be looking at our sell back into that area if euro pound was able to give us a nice reaction around this point. And if not, if they break this resistance, we'll be looking out for price coming all the way back to the 91,500 for a potential sell off. Okay, that rounds up the video for today. I'm going to be covering the rest of the pair out in our weekly analysis probably on Monday night. It's going to be live on YouTube. You guys, I'm going to send a link ahead of time so you guys can actually be there, where I'm going to explain all other pairs. But these are the three main pairs I'm going to pay my focus on, and the reason why is because I want you guys to choose what you're going to do on euro. Anything you got on the bars on DXY is going to reflect on what you're going to do either on euro USD or on pound USD, which is the cable. And on euro pound, you actually want to choose which of these pairs is actually the strongest, euro or pound. Then you can know which of them you want to trade, either the euro USD or the pound USD. With that being said, if you guys have not subscribed to this channel, I would like you to do so, because I'm going to be providing more values actually today before we add a weekly analysis. Okay guys, and if you find value in this weekly analysis, I would like you to give me a like button, to hit the like button. Thank you for doing that. I'll see you guys in the next week, or probably tomorrow, I don't know. Have a wonderful trading week.